All right, now that we're talking about multiplication, we can start talking about exponents and some exponent rules. A lot of these rules you'll remember from maybe, algebra, algebra 2, college algebra, whatever algebra class you had before this. So we have the base and we have the exponent. So they're going to call the base A. They're going to call the exponent N. If those are whole numbers, and we're not going to be talking about exponents of 0, then A to the nth power means that you're going to be multiplying A together n times. So you write the A down, the base down, n times, and you multiply it together. So if you had something like 2 to the third power, that would mean write the 2 down 3 times and you're multiplying. And you would get 8 for your answer there. But you see how it's multiplied? That's different than when we did multiplication and we said 3 groups of 2. Those had addition signs in between them. See, that's adding up 2 3 times. This is multiplying 2 3 times. So sometimes students get these two concepts confused, the exponent and multiplication. But I want to make sure that I pointed that out. So this number is your exponent, and it's how many times you write down the base, and then they're multiplied together. All right, so for any whole number where a is not 0, and for any natural numbers m and n, if you multiply and the bases are the same, so you see how we have an a for both bases? If you multiply like bases, you add the exponents. So I'm going to say add exponents in there. That's when you're multiplying like bases. You add up the exponents. We're going to do some examples in a second. If you take an exponent and raise it to another exponent, so we have like a power raised to a power, that's when you multiply the exponents. Power to a power, you multiply exponents. And you'll notice on this one it's a to the nth times b to the nth. So you need to make a note here that the bases, they don't match here. It's like two completely different numbers, but they happen to have the same exponent. So we could kind of consolidate or simplify and say, well, the a times b, those are both raised to the nth power. So, but you only use this rule when the bases are different. And then this one's really important that you know this one. Anytime you raise something to the 0 power, you always get 1. Like, it's a definition. There's not any math to do. It's like something you just memorize or just know. And any calculator, if you put a 0 power on a calculator on any number, it will always give you 1 as the answer. So that's just a definition you need to know. So let's try simplifying these using the properties we just talked about. So the first thing you want to do is look to see if your bases match. And on this example, 5 to the 7th times 5 to the 5th, I notice that my bases match. So I can add my exponents. I can simplify, I can consolidate these things together and just add my exponents, 7 plus 5. So what I'm getting is 5 to the 12th, which is a simpler way to write this product. It's like consolidating. That's what simplifying does. It makes it, well, simpler. That's why it's called simplifying. So we add the exponents there. This one, 6 to the 10th times 7 to the 10th. Okay, those bases don't match, so we can't add the exponents. But the 6 and the 7 both have a 10th power. So the property I can use is this third property, which says I can take 6 times 7 to the 10th power, which would simplify to be 42 to the 10th power. So that's a little simpler way. We've done a little bit of math. Now 42 to the 10th is gigantic. I'm not going to go to the calculator for that. I'm just trying to simplify. The next one is 2 to the 5th, and then all of that is raised to the 4th. So 2 to the 5th to the 4th, that's a power to a power. So it's this rule up here. We're going to multiply our exponents. So that's going to be 2 to the 5 times 4. So that's going to be 2 to the 20th power. That's simplified. And then on this one, we're just going to kind of do the math on each of these steps. You see how it's added together? So we're going to do each piece separately. So 2 to the 3rd is 2 times 2 times 2. I actually did that one up here. So that's 8. And by definition, anything to the 0 power is 1. And anything to the 0 power is 1. So actually, this one we can do all the math and simplify that one to be 10. So those are just some of the beginning properties that we use with exponents.